welcome to another episode of LGR Play. My name is Mark Hamer, and today I want to chat a little bit about the WipEout Omega Collection. And to do so, I brought along my partner in crime for another series on this channel, the Fortnightly Fisticuffs. It's Connor McKervey. Hello.
Hello.
So, the other night, I was just noodling about home, not really doing much, flicking through Twitter, and I noticed that you were streaming some WipEout Omega Collection through VR.
Yeah.
And I hadn't played WipEout in a while, tuned in, watched you playing a bunch, and remembered this game's really good.
Yeah.
So we jumped into a lobby together, played some multiplayer against people who are much better than us, playing on the fastest speed, and we got roundly thrashed, although we managed to scrape
I think we got a couple of medals, didn't we, between us, I think.
A couple of third places, I think, between us, which is about the best. I finished dead last quite a few times, but since then I've jumped back into the single player, been playing it again a bunch, and just having a really good time with it. So, yes, I wanted a little chat about WipEout. So, I guess first of all, we should start off, did you ever play F-Zero back in the day?
Not really, because I wasn't much of a Nintendo boy. I think I played it once or twice in Boots, where they had a Nintendo console hooked up, and was always a bit this is pretty cool. But I was a Sega lad, so it wasn't something I ever really properly played. But when
I don't know if there was an equivalent on Sega.
I'm not sure there was. I don't really remember. They had Hangout and Road Rash and things like that, but no, not anything that was that sense of speed, I don't think.
Well, I played a lot of F-Zero, absolutely loved it. And I always felt when WipEout came out that the team behind it was it always Studio Liverpool?
I think Studio Liverpool were formed out of Psygnosis, I think it might have been Psygnosis stroke Studio Liverpool, because it wasn't just released on the PlayStation. I think it came out on, was it the Saturn or the Dreamcast at the same time? So it wasn't a PlayStation exclusive. It's one of those ones that you think, it's just a PlayStation game, but it wasn't. It was actually on more than one platform.
I think it's because all the subsequent games and spin-offs have all been on PlayStation platforms.
Well, I think it's partly because Psygnosis got bought by Sony and became Studio Liverpool, so I think that's more kind of how it ties in.
So I always thought that the guys that made WipEout must have been big fans of F-Zero and just decided, well, if Nintendo aren't going to make another one, then we'll make our own version. And created WipEout. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I was quite young when WipEout first came out. I've subsequently gone back and read lots about it and watched videos about it and seen how influenced by, and to a certain extent an influence on, the 90s sort of clubbing scene.
Very much so. I played WipEout in Gatecrasher in Sheffield one night, because they actually had PlayStation consoles hooked up. So that's kind of how zeitgeisty it was. Obviously the soundtrack was
really
absolutely banging, because of the fact that it was audio, it was CDs, so the audio could stream straight off the discs, so you would have proper quality soundtracks, and I think that laid the groundwork for a lot of other companies to start to license tracks to actually put on there. And I think that was a pretty shrewd move from having the Chemical Brothers on there. It was pretty impressive to kind of do that. The game doesn't date well. If you ever go back and play it, it kind of feels a little bit slow, and it's not how you remember it, which is a shame. But it is definitely a bit of gaming heritage.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the gameplay still holds up. And all of the other aspects about it, the soundtrack and the whole aesthetic. The design of the ships, the logos of the different racing liveries, the menus, the UI, everything about that game is still still seems so cutting edge now, 20 something years after it first came out. But I know what you mean, going back to original WipEout after having played the Omega Collection, which incorporates later WipEout games, it does feel very slow. more akin to F-Zero, but which I mean, very slow in comparison. It's still a fast game.
Yeah, it is.
It's just not as like eye-wateringly fast as the Wipeout games became. So yeah, there are various different spin-offs on various PlayStation platforms.
Well, there's two extra sequels on PS1, weren't they? Was it 2098? Was that the second one? And then there was Wipeout 3, but with the 3 as the E. Then there was a PS2 version, which pretty much bombed. I played a fair bit of that. Matt from Codec Moments, he's an absolutely massive fan of Wipeout, and I played a fair bit with him, and he was absolutely obsessed with it. He really could nail it, but they kind of tweaked the way that the game worked, and I think it lost something. They were trying to advance it for the new hardware, and I don't know what they did, but it didn't quite feel the same to me. But yeah, the Vita version was the one that kind of launched with the Vita and ended up then coming to PS3, and then had the add-on stuff with it, which would then become like Wipeout HD, which it is fantastic. It is still a fantastic game, and that seemed to kind of recapture the essence of what they did on the PSP, what they did on the Vita, and they brought it back on the TV, up the graphics, and it's still stunning. Putting the Omega Collection in, I was expecting it to be good because I'm familiar with Wipeout. I've never been the most amazing racer on it, but it's one of those games that I think partly to do with the music, partly to do with how the controls work, it sucks you in, and you start to go, yeah, I can do this, I can have one more go, and you properly get in a zone with it, and it's just, oh man.
It is a proper, like, just one more race, just one more event sort of game. Like when you were playing it the other night, you called it quits at about midnight because it was a school night. I didn't have work the next day, but probably should have gone to bed. Ended up playing until about 2:30 in the morning because I jumped back in the single player, and I was just like, knock out a few little single player events, and I was like, just one more. There's just a few more events left in this like sequence. Might as well do the whole next sequence as well, and it just went on and on until like I looked at the clock and thought I really should call it a night now. But it is an incredibly Moorish game. The Omega Collection came out in 2018, or was it 17?
I think it was 18. It might have been 17, because the VR was kind of an add-on not long after PSVR came about, wasn't it? It didn't launch at the same time with it. It was something that was patched in afterwards, and it was one of those things that my experiences with VR is anything that kind of has sideways motion tends to make me want to lose my lunch. So I was really fearful of it, and when it came out I was like, I really do want it. Can I justify buying Wipeout again on a PS4? I've got it on everything, I don't need another copy of it. And with the VR stuff I was like, and then I managed to get a code online, and I thought, you know what, if it makes me feel sick, I'll just play it normally, and put it in VR, and was like, oh my god, this is like entering another world. I am racing this. It was always good racing it in first person, but when you can see outside the cockpit and have proper depth perception of corners and things, it's an odd experience, and it just made me think of watching Lawnmower Man at the cinema and being like, wow, that's going to be the future of video games, when I was like 15. And video games never quite got to that, at least not in my teen years. And now it's like, oh my god, this is actually happening. The sense of speed you get with it, the feeling that you are actually immersed within it, and it doesn't make me feel motion sick, which is partly down to the way the game's designed. They've done some very, very clever tricks to give you that sense of being part of the ship, but not the sense of, oh my god, I'm going to actually be sick, because it doesn't feel like I'm actually in this. The way that they've implemented little touches such as like funneling off your peripheral vision in the cockpit, so you basically are just looking straight ahead, really, really helps. Because you don't, even when you're going over some of the loops and some of the bits that go upside down, you can feel it. You get like that stomach sensation of being on a roller coaster, but not the same sensation of that cognitive dissonance that your brain gets of why is my body moving sideways when I'm actually looking forward? I'm sat still. What's going on? And to fool your brain into thinking you are actually riding it and not feel sick is a hell of a feat.
I think that the reason that works so well is a lot of people, this is just the anecdotal information that I've had from people who've played racing games in VR, is that the thing that sets them off is the acceleration and deceleration going into and like out of corners.
Yeah.
Is that like your eyes are telling you slowing down,
you should
or speeding up.
Should be experiencing G-forces that you're not actually experiencing.
But the body's not feeling it.
Yeah.
Whereas like WipEout is just non-stop.
Yeah.
Like if you take your thumb off the accelerate button, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Now obviously like, on some of like when we were playing online, the really, really fast like speed settings, some of those corners you kind of have to let off just a little bit, but you're never really slowing down. You're just letting off and like applying the air brakes to swing around the corner a bit tighter, but it you never get that sort of like rapid deceleration or acceleration that could set off motion sickness in a lot of people. So I can see why that works.
Yeah, it really, it's probably as close to flying as I've felt like getting in VR. The sense of speed, doing zone mode where you're doing 1,300 kilometers an hour and you are proper like, I am doing this, and you do get a sensation of speed with it. You do feel like, man, this is going fast. And you've got some of the visual fidelity issues with the way that VR works. You've got like the screen door effect, but your brain's very good at ignoring that and going, I am actually piloting this ship and I am going to win. And it's wow, it's definitely, of the experiences I've had in VR, it's the one that's, for the last 4 nights, I've just basically been firing it up and jumping back in and just doing a few races, and it is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. The WipEout games have really always been good, but yeah, this is the pinnacle of it. I would be curious as to see if there is still a future for WipEout, given Studio Liverpool doesn't exist anymore. I kind of hope there's a possibility of it.
I'd like to think so. I think the Omega Collection sold pretty well. Did it get put out on PS Plus or not?
Don't think so. I don't think it has been.
But I think it sold pretty well, and then it got extra legs again when they brought out the VR support for it. But the collection itself is incredible. It's the complete collection of WipEout. I'm pretty sure it's like almost every track, if not every track. It's not got all the original music because, licensing. But the soundtrack that is fantastic.
And it really aids you. It's if you like dance music and any kind of electro stuff, it does really aid you. On some of the tracks, you get proper in the zone with it, and it's like, wow, this is good. Yeah. I mean, it's not the sort of music that I would listen to or really outside of the game, but I can't. It wouldn't work without that music, or it wouldn't work with any other type of music. It's just that thumping soundtrack, the sheer speed, like the aesthetics, the way that the UI is presented, everything, even down to like the sort of the ship AI. And the race announcer, the whole package comes together so well. It runs on a PS4 Pro. It runs, I think it runs at 60 on all PlayStations, but on a Pro it runs at 4K as well. So it looks absolutely gorgeous. And it's just if you've ever enjoyed WipEout, it's just the best collection of WipEout that you can get, and like you're saying, it could possibly be the last big like WipEout release, because Studio Liverpool don't exist anymore, and unless Sony give it to another studio to work on, but I don't know who that could possibly be. But I don't know. It sold. I think it sold pretty well. It's still got a
a fan base. Like it came out a number of years ago, and when we jumped on the other night on a school night, quite late on, there were still people playing. Lots of Scandinavian people. It seems to have quite a big fan base.
There was a fair bit of Europe on there, wasn't there? Definitely a lot of Scandinavia.
Maybe we'd get another WipEout in the future. I would love that. Like I said to you in the chat when you were streaming, like how amazing would it be if Sony announced a new WipEout as a launch title for the PlayStation 5, leveraging all of the power that console's apparently going to have. Would be absolutely fantastic. But I don't know whether it's a particular subgenre of racing games that's not particularly popular. There's been other games that sort of ape WipEout. There's the Fast series on the Fast Racing, Fast RMX and whatnot on Nintendo, and there's another one that came out on PC a few years ago, which is made it over itself onto consoles, which I can't remember what it's called. We're never going to get another F-Zero, so I don't know whether there's the demand for it, but you'd love to see another WipEout.
Yeah, definitely.
It's one of those weird games that's sort of, it's so 90s.
Yeah.
But still holds up.
The way that it has evolved, the fact of it being a game that you could take portable, you wouldn't have expected it to be as nice as it was when it came out on the PSP, and then how glorious it was on the Vita. It's one of those games that definitely always felt like it's a home console. You need to have it on your telly, you need to have your sound system on, but it worked so well portably. It's one that I'm surprised Sony have never licensed as a mobile game, as like almost a freemium kind of style game where you have a basic amount of tracks and then you can buy additional leagues or additional tracks or something. It's surprised me that it's one that's never made it onto kind of the App Store, because I'd have thought that's an IP that's ready for rinsing if they so wanted. But I hope there's more console versions. I certainly hope there's a new iteration of it.
I'd like to hope so, but I've been disappointed so many times in the past.
A truly ultimate edition with every single possible track that's been released from every possible WipEout would be fantastic. Pulse and Pure, they're the two PSP games.
But yeah, I mean, if you've if you have fond memories of the old WipEout days back in the 90s, or if you've been keeping up with it and playing on the portable systems as well, and you haven't picked up the Omega Collection yet, then what are you doing? Like, it's routinely on sale on PSN, so go and pick it up because it's the best WipEout collection available.
And if you've got VR, definitely you owe it to yourself because it is sensational.
One day I will get a PSVR headset and I will play it, and I hope that I don't throw up everywhere.
Well, it surprised me, and I definitely have felt very queasy in a lot of other games that have been a lot slower and a lot more sedate than that is, and it's not made me feel sick at all.
Excellent. Well, thanks for joining me this evening. Where can people find you on the internets?
You can find me at VDJOMB on the old Twitter. When I'm kind of person on there, I've not had much to say, and I've been streaming via my YouTube channel, which is VDJOMB as well, so you can go off and have a look. The full version of the live stream I did with you should be on there with me playing in VR. I don't quite know how well it'll come across, because I think it kind of boxes the screen down to give doesn't even give like an illusion of VR, but you do get very much the viewpoint that I was racing with. Which is quite smart. So, and you can see you destroying me on one of the laps. Was it the last lap of one of the races? You hit me with a rocket and crossed the line ahead of me.
Yeah, I think that was the only time I got the better of you. The rest of the times, you wiped me out so often. When we jumped in, those first few races when I was bouncing off the walls, I was constantly getting knocked out because I forgot that you can hit the circle button to absorb your power up.
To get your energy back. Yeah, I think in the later races, I spent my time going over pads and just gobbling up the weapons rather than using
some health,
just so I could survive going around the track.
But that was good fun.
Yeah, definitely. definitely. We'll have to do it again. We'll have to jump on and have another bash at it. I might have to do it on the telly rather than in VR and see how much different it is on the PS4. Because I hadn't even fired it up outside of VR. I just thought I'm just going to jump in straight into VR and see what it's like. So yeah, it'd be nice to just sit on the telly and see whether I can actually go back to racing on the TV, or whether I'm now fully converted the only way I'll be able to play it is in VR.
Well, I've only been playing it, and on regular TV, and I've found it to be excellent. I don't have the option, unfortunately.
I definitely recommend a lend. Or find someone who's got it, and you can go around and give it a try, because it is it's sensational.
Yeah, as always, you can find us over on Twitter at LapsedGamer. Connor will be back on this channel again soon, hopefully with some more fortnightly fisticuffs.
Definitely.
We'll have to get you on the podcast sometime as well. I can't believe we've never invited you on the podcast.
I've been on previously. Definitely, I've been on previous episodes of Lapsed Gamer Radio.
Possibly, I just don't remember. But yeah, if you've been on, then I've slept since then, so I don't remember.
It's been a number of years since.
Oh, okay, then yeah, we'll have to have you on again for sure then. But thanks for joining this evening. And
no problem, thank you for having me.
No problem. And thanks very much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next episode of LGR Play. Goodbye.
Bye.
Missile plasma. Plasma final lap. Cannon.